Jason Bergman from Bethesda, and as you can maybe tell by the shirt, he's here to show off Fallout New Vegas. Jason, thank you for joining us up here.
It is my pleasure to be here.
Oh man, we're glad to have you here. We're excited to see this demo, Fallout New Vegas, much anticipated title. Can you give us a hint of what we're going to see today?
Sure. So Fallout New Vegas is follow-up to Fallout 3. It takes place on the West Coast, not the East Coast, and we're set in the Las Vegas area. And we kind of established in Fallout New Vegas that nukes never actually hit the Vegas area. So we've got a fully functioning Las Vegas Strip. Hoover Dam has power, and so what we're actually going to show you here in a couple of seconds is we're going to show you a fully functioning Las Vegas Strip in the post-apocalypse.
I don't know if my brain's going to be able to handle like a functioning civilization.
It is pretty crazy, and it's the strip itself is this little isolated oasis within the wasteland, and we've got casinos, we've got everything you would expect from the strip.
Of course, if something's going to survive the nuclear holocaust.
Of course, and actually we do over the course of the storyline of the game explain why the Vegas Strip was saved when the nukes fell.
Okay.
So it does actually tie into our storyline.
Well, I'll look forward to hearing about that, but here we are, folks.
Yeah, so you can see right there, that is the strip.
More glittering lights than you saw in the entirety of Fallout 3.
That's correct. I mean, this is what happens when Hoover Dam doesn't get hit by nukes. So we've got the Tops Casino there. That's our Rat Pack themed casino. Think like early 60s, Ocean's 11.
Nice. Is that the Vault 21 hotel?
Vault 21, yeah. So Vault 21 is one of the original vaults. Mr. House, who's our Howard Hughes type character, decided he wanted to acquire Vault 21. A lot of the vaults had these experiments with them, and the Vault 21 experiment was all conflicts would be resolved by gambling. So Mr. House bet them for control over the vault, and House always wins. So that's how he acquired it.
All right, I like that.
So he turned it into a themed hotel.
Turned into a themed hotel, which of course, what better theme for the wasteland?
Exactly. So the Lucky 38 is actually, that's House's. House has holed himself up in there, and nobody's been inside there in decades. The player is the first person to enter the Lucky 38 in many, many years.
That whole tower there?
That whole tower.
That's his personal fortress?
Yes, he's very much like Howard Hughes.
Oh my.
Here we have some female NCR officers blowing off a little bit of steam. They are boarding. Exactly, they're getting out. Yeah. Behind them there, that's the Ultralux. That's our super high-end kind of shishi casino. We do have lots of casinos in this world, and in all of them you can go in, you can gamble. Each of these are controlled by a different minor faction that they have their own quests associated with them, and we have a reputation system that lets you build reputation with each of the minor and major factions in the game.
Now who's this Robo Officer Krupke right here?
So that's a Securitron. The reason that the strip itself is so well policed is because House is so in control of the strip, and he controls everything remotely because he's never left the Lucky 38 by his Securitron army. And those robots there with the big TV screens, what the image on the screen is the current personality of the robot. And so what you're looking at right there is, this is a guard robot right now, hence the policeman image on the screen. All right, so we're gonna
safe for the
hey, you gotta be safe.
Who are cutting loose.
Tourism. Even in the post-apocalypse, there's money to be made, and so there is a tourist industry.
Absolutely. And now, so we're going into one of the casinos now?
Yes, we're going into the Tops, which is our Rat Pack themed casino.
All right, and what's the faction that controls the Tops?
So that's the chairman, of course.
He's the chairman.
Yes.
Chairman House.
Again, think Frank Sinatra.
Yep, that makes sense.
All right, so we'll just be going in there in just a second.
Chairman Greeter.
Yeah, so please ignore that. Here we go. So this is the Chairman Greeter. As soon as you walk in the casino, they take away all your weapons. So you can see it's very Ocean's 11 style. We're going to head towards the right here, and there's a gambling floor. So we'll actually show you some of our various ways to
Try
gamble.
Your luck?
Yeah. The character that Pete here is playing as has a maxed out luck stat, just for demo purposes. So he's going to play some blackjack, but he's probably going to do exceptionally well.
He's a very lucky fellow.
He is a very lucky fellow. It's going to be pretty hard. I mean, we do offer ways of temporarily increasing your luck. But if you want to start the game and you know you're going to gamble, then when you set up your special, you can max that out from the very beginning.
Now, luck is a familiar skill.
Yep. Well, it's a trait.
Yes.
Sorry, stat. I will get emails about it. It is a stat. It's a special stat.
Are players who got into Fallout 3 going to recognize the stat?
Yes. Well, it's the L in special. Special, of course, standing for all the various stats you create at the start of the game.
So familiar stuff there. All right. How are we doing here?
We're doing good. Hey, he's already won. So just like a real casino, as you do well, you'll get comped. So you'll get a free drink, then you'll get a meal, maybe you'll get a suite for the night. But eventually, though, you're going to break the bank, and the casino's going to ask you to leave.
You're going to say, you know what? We need to keep it in check.
They're
And now, is
happy
your
to-
free meal? I imagine you're not talking about stewed squirrel.
No, it's Brahmin steak, so the very best.
Naturally.
Yes.
For the high rollers.
Here we have roulette. Even with the high luck stat, roulette is still roulette. 36-1 odds are not going to change that much, even with that nice little added bonus to it.
We got a question coming in from Callum in England, wondering, being that this is Vegas, in addition to casinos, are we going to see any gentlemen's clubs?
Of course we are. One of our casinos is Gomorrah, and Gomorrah is
a fitting name.
Is run by the Omertas, which are kind of our mafia. That is our den of sin. So we've got strip clubs in there. We've got prostitution for men and women, because the player can be either gender, and either gender can choose to hire either gender.
Yeah,
we are all encompassing in this world.
Absolutely. The apocalypse is a somewhat utopian place. No?
Exactly.
Well, certainly. And all right, so you've got the different factions playing off each other. Now, let's say you maybe misbehave inside the tops. That's gonna have consequences for you?
Well, it's certainly going to have consequences with the chairman. They're not going to appreciate that very much. You have your weapons taken away from you right when you walk into the casino.
Okay.
However, just outside the casino is a sleazy guy named Mr. Holdout. He offers to sell you small weapons that you can conceal on yourself. And if you actually have a high enough sneak skill, again, I will get hate mail. You can sneak in larger weapons, even as much as a rifle.
Oh, wow. That's one sneaky dude.
Yes, but everybody can sneak in things like, a switchblade or a knife or brass knuckles. You never want to be unarmed in this world. This is a dangerous place to be.
Especially when you're heading out of town, which it looks like we're doing now. So what are we setting up
this area here, we're joining up with the NCR, with the New California Republic, and we're going to assault a town called Nelson. Nelson used to be an NCR outpost before it was taken over by Caesar's Legion. And Caesar's Legion, they're our bad faction in the game. These are not nice guys. They're this pseudo-Roman military faction. They rolled into town, they burned it to the ground, they crucified the NCR officers that are there. The NCR had to flee and head off and set up camp elsewhere. What you're looking at right here, this is our companion wheel. We have new companions. They're actually a big part of the game now.
Okay.
There are 7 possible companions you can have. Each one of them has their own storyline. They follow you around. We've improved the AI when it comes to combat. But they also grant abilities to the player, new perks, as you go through their personal quests, because they all have their own loyalty missions. You upgrade the companion.
Oh no, it makes them a little sharper in combat.
They're a little sharper in combat. They grant you new abilities. And so with the companion wheel, though, we're letting players easily give commands before you'd have to go through a dialogue tree. And so if you're in combat and you need to give your guy health, you can run right up to him, hit the companion wheel, and give him a couple stim packs.
Boom, there you go.
Exactly.
You don't have to interrupt and say, "Excuse me, how are you doing? Perhaps you would like to use a stim pack."
So we're actually going to back out of here, and we're going to go take on Nelson. We've got the NCR backing us up. We're going to sign up here with Sergeant Cooper. We're going to roll in, and we're going to assault the town.
Now I'm looking forward to that. I got a question coming in from Katie Wilson in New Mexico. How big is the game world compared to Fallout 3?
We are roughly the same size game as Fallout 3. Fallout 3 is a very big game.
It's very big.
We are a very, very big game as well. Our world map is almost exactly the same size. We have almost exactly the same number of locations. We've got more quests than Fallout 3 did, although we calculate them out a little differently. Fallout 3 would have like one quest that stretched over a long period of time. We have smaller quests that connect to each other because we kind of branch differently. We've got more dialogue in the game. We've got 40% more dialogue because we have so many different options to do among those quests. So this is a very, very big game. There's a lot to do other than just walking around. I mean, we've got gambling, we've got mini games, we got tons of stuff in this game.
No doubt, and including gunning people down with what looks like some kind of light machine gun.
That is the light machine gun, actually. Good call on
Yes.
that.
Video game.
So what you're seeing here is iron sights. We've actually tuned all the weapons now to work better outside of VATS. We know people love VATS, and we still have VATS, but a lot of people wanted to play it more like a first-person shooter. So we've actually tuned all the guns so they work better that way. We've got all of our weapons now, except for the ones that are shot from the hip, like our really, really big ones, have iron sights. And for that, I mean, it's more like you would find in a regular first-person shooter like Halo.
That's exciting. Now, or is this a laser plasma type thing we're seeing?
Yes, it is. This is one of our plasma guns. It is crazy powerful. It will melt enemies.
Yeah, Michael Hudson from Yorktown is asking about new weapons. Can you give us, maybe a highlight of one particular that's a favorite of yours that we're not going to see here today?
Well, I mean, we might see it. My favorite personal weapon right now is the anti-material rifle, which is a huge sniper rifle. I mean, it's just ridiculously large. And it is a crazy powerful, there it is. It is a crazy powerful sniper rifle. And actually, if he can jump to third person here, if you hit the shoulder button, the left shoulder button, that'll jump you into third person. And when you fire that from the hip, if you just fire it, boom, you actually get knocked back. It's so powerful. It's just crazy how powerful that is. By the way, we've tweaked the third person camera to make it more useful. We found that people did want to play in third person, and so we've made it so you can. The targeting is now accurate in third person.
Imagine that.
That's
excellent.
We've made it much more
over
useful.
the shoulder looks, much more of a natural fit.
Yes, and for some people, that's what they want to do, so we're accommodating that.
Wonderful. I also noticed that for the HUD, you guys have gone with sort of this, the same style, only it's like a pale yellow instead of the bright green.
It's the amber color we went with.
A little more of the desert.
Exactly. We figured you're going to be out in the desert, so we wanted to tune that a bit.
Omar from Karachi is wondering about skills that could increase your, you're talking about basically increase your iron sight effectiveness. You're talking about how you're enabling players to play from third person view, how you're, allowing them to play it more like a first person shooter. Any skills tie into that?
Not directly to iron sights in particular, but I mean all the skills that affect combat certainly affect real-time combat. So things like perception and strength now. The weapons do have a strength requirement, especially the larger weapons.
Okay.
And these are all things you'll want to build up if you're a very combat-centric player. But you don't have to be, that's the thing. I mean, if you want to play this game entirely as a pacifist, you can. We're letting you do that.
No kidding. No gunplay?
If that's what you want to do, you can do that. It's going to be extremely difficult.
Ya.
On the other hand, we're also letting players play as the complete badass. We have 2,200 characters in the game, and all of them but one can be killed. So we are doing everything we can.
Do I smell an achievement?
There could be an achievement for that.
Mass genocide of the
Yes.
Fallout New Vegas
So
world?
if you want to be evil, we're letting you be extremely evil.
And speaking of evil, right at the end there, it looked like there's a fairly evil-looking thing that the
That was
player was
the
holding on to.
bladed gauntlet. That's actually
The bladed
gauntlet is it's a kind of a piecemeal weapon where it's a giant fist that has blades coming out of it, and it's a melee weapon. And like all our melee weapons, you can learn special moves that can be used in VATS. And so that one has an uppercut that just kind of goes like that and guts guys. It's pretty crazy.
Gnarly. Now, weapon crafting, Fallen blueprints. We still see that?
We have an extensive crafting mechanic in this game. We actually have an entire skill called survival that directly affects crafting. In this game, you can go up to workbenches again, but also anywhere you see a campfire, you can walk up to them and you can build potions, things like healing powders. You can do poisons that you can add to your weapons.
Okay.
All kinds of things can be built
So a
now.
lot broader array of items.
Absolutely.
As well.
We know people like crafting, and we want to fully embrace that.
Fantastic. All right. One last question here. A lot of folks are asking about connections with other games, notably Alberto from Spain. Does Fallout 3 save data play a role, or does are the connections only to the previous Fallout?
We're not letting players import save data or anything like that.
Okay.
We do have connections story-wise, but they're very, very minor.
Yeah.
News travels very, very slowly in this world. So even though we are a couple of years after the events of Fallout 3, there's no airplanes and there are no cars. So these things...
The Pony Express isn't back and running?
No, although we do actually have Mojave Express here.
The Mojave Express?
Yes, but that's only within the Mojave Wasteland.
All right, excellent. So you can, maybe do some courier jobs.
Yes, you can actually earn some money on the side that way.
All right, excellent, Jason. Well, anything else before we wrap it up here? Anything else you want to tell us about Fallout New Vegas?
Just that it's a very large, very, very fun game. I mean, if you like Fallout 3, if you like this world, if you like open world RPGs in general, you are going to love Fallout New Vegas.
You guys are really making a strong bid for like tens and tens of my hours later this year.
No, we've got hundreds. If you go through everything, I mean, our storyline branches very significantly. So to play everything, you're going to need to play it at least twice, usually 3 or more times. So.
It's not looking good for my availability later this year. And speaking of later this year, the date we can play Fallout New Vegas.
In America, we'll be out on October 19th. In Europe, it's October 22nd.
All right, late October. Jason, thank you so much. And a dramatic ending. Wow.
Oh, and look at that. That's C4, by the way. That's one of our other new weapons. That is just fantastic. You can pickpocket people and leave C4 on them. You can do it to multiple people, so you can go around an entire town, give them all C4, hit the detonator, and they all go flying. It's pretty awesome.
Now, that's the kind of thing you want to be able to record.
Exactly.
Precious memories. Jason, thank you so much for coming by and showing off Fallout New Vegas.
Pleasure.
Looking great. All right, folks, up next is back out onto the show floor for more from E3 2010.